Welcome back, everybody. Very important video I have for you today. I know many of you have been following along with me on the flat earth topic, and I know that there have been many speculations, and I know that many say that it's a distraction, a psyop, and I know that many think that it's very important. There are so many mixed ideas on this recent topic, and many people don't understand why it's so very, very important. Lately, I've dedicated the bulk of my time in trying to explain why to the masses. And this video is another attempt to do just that. Many people look up to teachers such as Dr. Phil Valentine. I myself was a young man who grew up listening and learning from the brother. In this video, I would say a lot of things that many of you may find offensive, but I just want to state that this video is in no way or form a video to in any way try to disrespect the great teacher. I have so much respect for this great teacher, but however, you gotta respect a man that's still willing to speak his mind from his heart in these very deceptive times. So what I'm going to share with you today is very, very important surrounding the flat earth topic, and you're going to understand why it's so important. Many black people come on my channel and they say, man, this is a lame topic. It's a topic that's not important. But no one tells Dr. Phil Valentine that it's a topic that's not important. So maybe you can see how important it is as you listen to the brother Phil Valentine tell you the exact same things that I get crucified for on this channel. I tell people all the time that flat earth come from our African ancestors. I tell them this all the time, that none of the ancestors believed in the globe. Well, maybe now they'll believe it when they hear it from the teacher Phil Valentine. Phil Valentine basically is gonna say in this video everything I teach on this channel and back me up. So for all of the hundreds of trolls who want to crucify me, crucify Reverend Phil Valentine as well. Now what I'm going to do here is play this video, and I'm going to let Phil Valentine speak his mind on flat earth, and I'm going to pause at certain points and interject with information that you need to hear. Now before I even hit play on this video, I want you to understand something very, very critical. That teachers like Phil Valentine and people like Kyrie Irving and B.O.B., we really have to investigate these guys. And by the end of this video, you're going to see what I'm talking about. And I'm going to give you one red flag right now. Anybody that has thoroughly researched flat earth would never call it a theory. Let me repeat that. Anybody that has thoroughly researched flat earth would never call it a theory. Now, this brother Phil Valentine has never came out and said, I am a flat earther. And when he speak of the flat earth, he speak of it as a theory in a metaphysical, theoretical way, when it's really the fact of your very reality. You are living on a flat earth. So let's get on with it.
Now, what do you think about this whole flat earth theory thing that's all over the internet?
Oh, well, you're going back to something that I had put aside back in the late 80s, early 90s, when I was looking into a lot of the information that was there in the Lucius Trust, and an old white gentleman by the name of Boris over there at the Theosophy Lodge, when they were giving me old maps, dusty books and stuff for me to look through. You have to go back to the fact that and again, I have to look at these things and tell you my history with this particular thing. I first was given information regarding that by two gentlemen that I invited to my gatherings of the Masters in Brooklyn. These were two Europeans by the name of Preston Nichols and Al Bielek. And at the time, I was speaking about the perception of a what they call flat earth. We knew it as a flat plane, not a flat earth, or a plane of existence, because again, we are limited by the language and limited by the education that we've been given to describe the reality that we're in. So I have to speak in words that can actually vibrate to the understanding that basis on your education. So when people talk about flat Earth, flat Earth, that's just a misnomer. It tends to incite the ridiculous in someone's mind. So when I'm speaking about that, and for you to understand the so-called flat Earth theories, you have to deal with it from the perspective we do at our university.
So let me stop for a minute and build, and let me point something out to y'all. You have to be careful. If anybody looking for the truth about their reality and you looking to free yourself from this matrix, please listen to me. I'm really trying to free your mind. Now, I really got love for Dr. Phil Valentine and much respect for this teacher. But right here, okay, there's an agenda involved here, people. And you got to understand that he's not fully for flat Earth. Once you understand flat Earth, there's a certain way you go about it. You start proving it with facts. When you listen to him speak of flat Earth, it's his attempt to mystify this subject and throw it into the realm of metaphysics and, conspiracy theory. Listen, people, if you look at my videos on flat Earth and real flat Earth channels like Jeranism and the likes, Eric Dubé and others, you will see people doing personal research and experiments that everyone who is listening to me can go do. One red flag that came out of his mouth, he said that in order for you to understand this thing, you got to go to his school and his university. Flat Earth is not something that we want to throw into a westernized curriculum or some type of snare where we turn it into some type of monetary, mystified, metaphysical curriculum. This is not the realm we want to throw flat Earth into, because flat Earth is one of those things that is awakening that will allow every human being to become their own personal observer and personal scientist from wherever they are at any given time. And the only thing they would need to prove the fact of their reality is the horizon that's before them. You see, you are your own walking university, and no ancient person needed to be indoctrinated into a mystified realm of metaphysics to understand a basic fact of their reality, which is that the horizon is horizontal. Flat Earth is not a theory, people. And it's not nothing that we want to link to metaphysics and, mystified conceptualizations where only one man can deliver the thesis. This is something that a child should be able to prove true. The Creator never intended for this to be all mystified and spookified and a theory. It's just sad that it has been reduced to this type of rhetoric today. But flat Earth is something that was never questioned by the ancestors. As we move on, maybe I can shed some more light.
Based upon the ancients and not of flat Earth theories, you have to deal with it from the perspective we do at our university. You cannot deal with it on what you see on the internet.
See right there? You cannot deal with it based upon what you see on the internet. Well, you can't even make it to his university if it wasn't for the internet. The thing, is really crazy. Like a guy commented the other day on a channel. He said, hey, man, you research something and you use Google. Well, YouTube is owned by Google. All of these lectures are on YouTube that's also owned by Google. Google is nothing more but the world's encyclopedia. It's a research tool. It's a search engine. How you use it is up to you. Almost any book you can find in a college curriculum, you can Google online and download it and look it up and educate yourself, people. So the whole idea of going to a university and paying big dollars to, have some document or degree is absurd. I mean, I'm from Alabama. I'm going to think about George Washington Carver, who had no degree or none of that and came up with over 10,000 uses for the peanut that we still use today. We're talking about people that would be called illiterate today. We're talking about pre-dynastic ancient people who accomplished some of the most marvelous feats that we're yet to accomplish, and yet we still call them primitive. You see, one of the great deceptions with flat earth was that the way the Masons and the elite hid flat earth cosmology from the masses was when they went back to glorify the ancients. They glorified the ancients, but they said that the height of stupidity in the ancient world was the whole idea of a flat earth. So what happened, if you remember history when you grew up, you remember glorifying all of the greatness of the ancestors, the pyramids and the wonders, but you remember that the number one thing you were taught to mock and laugh at about the ancestors was the fact that they believed the earth flat. We actually glorify the idea that modern humans found out the fact that the earth was a globe, when really the whole globe is supported by theories that has never been proven, and they fall apart the moment an individual begin to do simple personal observations. Check out some of the videos on this channel. I'll be getting into more and more flat earth observations and debunking this globe video by video as we move on. But right now I'm just showing you guys how the flat earth truth is intercepted, and what happens is the best way to control the opposition is to lead it. So you have all of these individuals who are in leadership positions decide to speak upon topics that resurface, and the elite know one thing, that the truth can't be suppressed for long and that it resurfaces every couple generations. What's happening right now is truth resurfacing, and what you see is a big attempt to suppress that truth and mystify it and cloud it and surround it in all type of pseudoscience and theories that'll turn people off and just make it seem more and more absurd. Also to monetize it. So what I'm saying here is flat earth is an awakening that will put everyone on a level of a Phil Valentine or Brother Sanchez, because this stuff is not complicated. It's simple observations and using your senses. You don't need to go to a university to use your senses. This is how dumbed down we've become today. If you never gave a child a globe, by default, they would have known they were on a flat plane. So this is something that, you really want to dive into from a personal level, and don't get caught up into being a follower. All right. So one of the things that led me out of the globe earth theory was my ability to never stop questioning. And that's one of the number one traits of being a leader. So don't get so caught up into these communities of teachers that thrive upon young ignorance and young followers with the mentality of mentorship. Like, the whole idea of a mentor is something we need to do away with, okay? Because the kind of man that we're going to need moving on into the future is going to be ready-made leaders doing personal observations and getting back to nature and Mother Nature. And we're not going to be beating around the bush on topics that the government are trying their damnness to hide, like flat earth. Because let me throw you one big reason why it's so important. They hit us all the time with overpopulation because we're on a so-called globe and we're filling it up with too many people. What if I told you that you're on an infinite plane and that there are infinite continents of land that stretch out beyond the Antarctic ring, which I'll be getting into in a future video? You will understand how deep this rabbit hole goes when you start asking questions like, where did the ancestors go? Where did the giants go? Okay, there's no recorded ends to the earth, people, and they're still finding land, and they're not telling us about it because they got you fooled with the whole idea of a globe. Now, I don't want to be all over the place, but this is a Masonic secret that goes very, very deep, okay? I just wanted to give you one thing to think about, and I'll be driving that home on a future video that I'm going to do about beyond Antarctica and the underground cities and the continents that they're not telling us about. And this thing go very, very deep, y'all. So just beware when you get caught up into mainstream, consciousness channels, that's dealing with topics in a mystified form, and they're always leading you back to some monetized format that you can't do for yourself. You can only figure it out through them and their universities. That's a red flag. What I teach on this channel, you can actually learn it, get it in you, and go and teach it to others. It's an awakening. That means it's something that can be spreaded. You know what I mean? Not nothing that's like a pit where one man control it, sort of like the minister. The same way they do with the globe, okay? All of the astrophysicists would be your ministers, selling you the globe belief, because that's all it is a belief. They give you animations and a bunch of equations that they say only they can figure out. You got to go through all of these clubs and initiations to be part of their club, and by the time you do that, you're already a sellout and a liar that's being taught and brainwashed to sell this globe, just like the pastor selling the Bible. But the rabbit hole goes real deep. The globe is a religion, and I'll be going into that in a future video as well. But let's get back to the brother Phil Valentine.
You have to look at it based upon the ancients and not what it is that your education has made of your reality today. And that you have to look from the perspective we do at our university. You cannot deal with it based on what you see on the internet. You have to look at it based upon the ancients and not what it is that your education has made of your reality today. You cannot look at knowledge like this through the eyes of the education that they gave to you. You have to go back to the science that the ancestors gave to you thousands upon thousands of years ago to see what that really means. Now, you have to look at it before the time of the Vatican, and before the time that Christianity through Catholicism began to come to prominence, because the origin of the so-called round or globe Earth actually happened based upon the Vatican. The arguments regarding that shape of that Earth, they were still arguing about it up till that time of the 16th century, whether it was flat or round, because they were looking at the information that was put down by the ancient Kemites, the ancient Dravidians, the ancient Olmecs, and everyone who existed on the earth before the Europeans.
Did you hear what he just said? That's for all you comedic RBG trolls that's saying Bro Sanchez is a dummy. Flat Earth didn't come from our ancestors. Well, you just heard it from Phil Valentine. Something else I wanted to plug in about what he's saying. He's saying that our ancestors had the flat Earth cosmology before the European. And that's also a lie. See, this flat Earth truth is going to unite the have-nots against the have and take humanity to the place we need to be. And it's going to punch that divide and conquer agenda clean in the face. But what's happening is when you get teachers like this that get hold of this flat Earth knowledge, they use it to further push the divide and conquer agenda. And we end up like little bitty children arguing over who done it first and who done it first. Like little bitty children. Does it matter? Because everybody had it before the European. A bunch of ego and stupidity. What does it matter? And that's a lie. Every ancient person walking this earth in the beginning believed in flat earth. They don't even have all of the technology to make the globe real on paper. The crap y'all got is so easily debunkable on paper. The only thing that ever could be proven was a flat earth. So what I'm saying is that even white people, even Europeans knew that the earth was flat in the beginning. Then they start creating the globe for hideous reasons to control you and introduce Pharaoh and sun worship. Why ain't he telling you that? Because everything he teach glorify Egypt. A bunch of homosexual pharaohs who created a new world order. He don't want to tell you that. See, it's impossible for you to do so much research that you know the earth flat, but you still want to hold on to the divide and conquer agenda. You still want to hold on to the concept of solid planets, but you believe in a flat earth. It's called muddy in the water. Let's get on with it. I believe people just, want to be a hater because these same people go on this video and give Phil props. This is how truth movements are infiltrated. Because what I'm going to give you with Flat Earth on my channel is experience, experiments, observations, real knowledge that you can go and teach and start a YouTube channel with. This man is telling you to go to his university, and his link is down there, and everyone's trying to monetize and mystify this truth that's supposed to set each human being free. He's telling you don't get your knowledge from the internet. Guess what, people? You get everything else from the internet. You go on there to get recipes and everything else. He's telling you to go to the internet to his online university. I learned everything I learned from Flat Earth off the internet, which led to me going outside doing personal observations and experiments. And it's undeniable proof. It's nothing we have to mystify and throw into a theoretical realm of spookism. So for all of you people that say this flat earth thing is something that, come from the European, our ancestors didn't have it, you just heard it from Phil Valentine yourself. A lot of people gonna have to get behind this thing, but they tiptoeing and they dancing around it because nobody want to come out and say I'm a flat earther because of the attacks you get. But people want to still monetize off of the rhetoric surrounding it because it's a hot topic. It resonates with people, so everybody want to have their hands in it. And a lot of people want to mystify it and throw it into spookism. You got a lot of deception out here. And I'm going to be calling out a lot of people in the future. Let's get back with this video.
Arguing about was how many secrets can we actually keep if we put out one or two perspectives? If we keep the flat earth perspective, quote unquote, how many secrets could leak as a result of that? And can we keep the animal in the cage with that perspective? No. So what they did was they had to hide the information. The Vatican had to make sure that the information was hidden. How did they hide it? They made sure that the so-called conjectures of the day, which is the earth is round, the Copernican one, became the mainstay. So they began to promote that into the lexicon. And of course, they were running all of Western civilization's education system. They took the Copernican idea.
So how many times do you need him to tell you the same thing I've been teaching y'all on this channel for free? Copernicus gave you the globe. Eratosthenes gave you the globe. Shall I keep going? All right. This had nothing to do with the ancient ancestors. All of our ancestors understood that the earth was flat. Even their ancestors did. The globe was a new creation that they came up with to dumb the masses down and hide infinite amounts of land. Y'all, there's so much to this earth that's magical. You're in a realm of consciousness on an infinite plane, and one of their biggest fears is the whole world understanding that the earth is flat, because if the whole world know that they lying about something that simple, and they see how deep this rabbit hole really go, they'll understand that them bastards is lying about everything. They lying about what we are, why you was born, why you here. Man, you don't know what they can be doing to us when you understand they lying about something this simple. It can be deeper than you ever know. All right? Think about the North Pole and what the ancestors spoke about the North Pole. They said it was a magical place. Why are they hiding at the North Pole when they got all of these treaties where you can't go and explore the North Pole? You can't go and explore the so-called South Pole. It's something very magical about this earth, and they're hiding it. It's something very magical about us humans that's hidden in the cosmology, and NASA gives you this fake cosmology that really separates us spiritually from the Creator. It's really deeper than flat earth. It's so deep. People say, why does it matter? Flat earth, globe earth. Why does it matter? The truth or the lie? It matters this much to them. Okay? NASA makes $50 million a day, billions every year from this bogus space program that they selling you, and they're lying to your children. So there goes some more important reasons it should matter to you. And if you don't think that matter, then you're part of the problem.
Which was to the earth being round, and promoted that from that point forward, into the Western education system. So that's all we ever knew. The information that would have led you back to your ancestors, they put on hold or made ridiculous.
You know, I get crucified video after video. Just go through the channel. Black people. Flat Earth is not a race thing. I don't even believe in races, but I'm dealing with a particular people who are bound by a particular doctrine or dogma right now. They're blinded by the sunlight and Comedicism and the code of Ra. All right. Brother Phil just gave y'all some real knowledge, and I give it to y'all video after video. Maybe it's my country accent, because Brother Phil is up north. You know, he's very eloquent with the words. I don't know what it is, you know, but he just told you what I told you, though. He told you they emphasize giving us the globe and telling you that our ancestors were stupid for believing the earth flat. He telling you that they flipped it on you. That they told you that their ancestors was dumb and their ancestors believed in a flat earth. But really it's your ancestors who believed in a flat earth, the ancestors who they glorify. It was them who created the globe to rule you with. You think they was going to tell you the truth about that? If they told you we created the globe to rule you with, your ancestors really had flat earth cosmology, one of their biggest budgets wouldn't exist. Let me repeat. One of their biggest budgets, y'all, that's rivaling Christianity and the Bible, is the space program. So we talking about a religion that we don't even see. $50 million a day. And it's something you gotta believe in. Animations and all of this crap. They telling you they got footage of the sun that they filming from 93 million miles away. And don't that happen to that camera that's that close to the sun? They got an internet connection that can stream us live footage of the sun from 93 million miles away. Get real. They give your children a globe before they even learn how to question. This is a religion, y'all. What else do they give you in that manner? The Bible. They give you the Bible before you know how to question. This is stuff they put in your subconscious at a young age when you're absorbing things and formating your spirituality and basing values, okay? And you can't escape their deities, because even if you lose all of your religious concepts and mind fucking, you end up still believing in a solar system and a globe that secludes you from the Creator. One of the mysteries of the G that's at the center of the Masonic square and compass is the fact that that G also stands for gravity. And the Masons recently did a movie called Gravity, where they paid homage to their God, which is a force which holds this entire chaotic universe together. You have to keep in mind that the force that dominates this heliocentric cosmos is none other than gravity. It's a theory that makes it all possible. Remember that the root word of theory is theo, which means God. So it's a form of God. Remember, gravity is something you either believe in or you don't believe in, similar to a God, okay, similar to Jesus or Allah. Okay, so even an atheist who believes in the solar system have a God that's called gravity. When you accept the solar system, you accept a system that was created from nothing. Nothingness exploded for no reason and created all of this perfection and balance that we see in our nature. Can't be real, people. You can't go outside and look at the perfection of nature and think that it happened from a mishap, from just chaotic collisions, and believe you live in this chaotic universe where things are just flinging around chaotically, and you can die at any moment because the creator is so clumsy, and no. You are in a realm of consciousness, and what you're perceiving as matter is really spiritual material, because spirituality and matter can't be separated from one another since they emanate from one another. You can't move away any of the dimensions as the whole existence falls apart. It's one symbiotic system. It's one thing. Hence the word uni, meaning one verse or one flat plane of existence, which is stacked upon, creating a continuum of planes, one being the astral plane, the celestial plane, and you can experience a reality on either of these planes, but where existence take place is from the center, and from the center you can experience planes above and below. This is the beauty of being a medium or a human. I'm so sorry for getting off subject, but basically understand that their cosmology hides the beauty of a human and the perfection of creation, and it's a religion. Gravity is a god. And if you want to learn more about that, check out the recent video that I just uploaded. Flat Earth is the most important truth. So the truth is the only thing can set you free. And when we looking on the outside, going out there trying to understand and figure out nature, we're on our quest back to the source. This quest is the questions that we asking, and it's gonna free us. It takes away so many fears. I mean, it's just you develop a whole new way you view reality that's almost superhuman, and you begin to master the soul, and you start uncovering revelations about your reality that feeds the soul. And you don't want this stuff to be mystified and hidden behind a curtain of pseudoscience and dogma that you can only get from some guy that shows up in a dashiki with 100 unks on. And we got to get out of that crap, y'all. Every human being is their own philosopher. You got to be a leader, okay? Because when you came here alone, you're going to leave alone. You got to learn to think for yourself.
Subsequent generations, as I was speaking about that thing about promoting the blurring of the gender line, the destruction of gender, that every generation after that they've conditioned into that will only know that as the reality. It's the same thing that happened when they suppressed all information that had to do with what became the Kabbalistic understanding as well as the Kemetic understanding of how our world or our reality really was. So in injecting that so-called round earth at that time, they then now created the obtuse environment for us to operate in. And since everything from that point forward consolidated knowledge around that, and reintroduction of the ancients' information sounds ridiculous. So the introduction of ancient information into a Christian church would sound like Satan coming in. So for me to actually speak to you about that, I have to get real deep and metaphysical, the way we teach at our university. And I'm not sure,
Again, he's selling you his university. For you to teach flat earth, you don't have to get all deep and metaphysical. For you to teach flat earth, all you got to do is debunk globe earth. By default, you prove flat earth. For example, do ships go over the curve at the beach? You can do a personal observation, a personal experiment to prove that. Go to the beach, look at a ship. When it go over the so-called curve, pull out your binoculars and see how long you can trace that ship. It's called vanishing point. Research it. Don't go to no metaphysical university and get into all this mystified crap, y'all. Brother Sanchez is the most hated because I really care about y'all. I'm really trying to free your mind. I see the deception and it keeps me up at night. Okay? I see this stuff hurts me, man, because I see how Man, the world just being bamboozled, man, and nobody want to accept the truth because we got so much faith and so much trust in our teachers, just like the Christians got for their pastors and bishops. I'm trying to set you free and turn you into leaders. You don't have to go to this man university to learn flat earth. A 12-year-old can teach it. All you gotta do is debunk globe earth. They said the earth shadow caused the moon phases. That's a lie because look at the half moon. How the hell a curved earth gonna make a straight horizontal line for the half moon?
Not curved
Globe
anymore.
earth debunked in another fact. And you didn't have to go to no comedic university and listen to no mystified pseudoscience. I'm not disrespecting the teacher, I'm telling the truth. So those who attempting to keep the lie going, I'm sorry, it's just gonna hit a certain way, but it's no disrespect. It's hard to tell the truth and not to step on a couple of toes, but if you want the truth, accept it, doggone it. Yes, it's gonna hurt, but it's gonna set you free. The earth is flat, and no, you don't have to go to no university and go all up under this crap to prove it. I already proved it on this channel video after video, as well as many others, and we didn't have to go to no university, no comedic metaphysics and all of that. Go and look up what metaphysics is. It's another religion, man. It's another school of thought where people forming own beliefs off the facts of nature. People examine nature and they speculate, come to their conclusions, and they teach you their conclusions. When do you ever do the research? When do you ever make your own conclusion? Guess what? You'll come to some startling revelations on your own for free.
What that means, and if it would be open for today, I'd have to go to Hermetic astrology, and what that means, and if it would be like Satan coming in. So for me to actually speak to you about that, I have to get real deep and metaphysical.
No, you don't.
The way we teach at our university, and I'm not sure to speak to you about.
No, hell you don't. No, no, hell you don't. You don't have to get deep as hell about nothing.
That I have to get real deep and metaphysical. The way we teach at our university, and I'm not sure,
oh man,
what that means, and if it would be open for today, I'd have to go to Hermetic astrology, the Hermetic system, versus the what we call the tropical system that is dealt with in the West. If you want to look at it like this, and I'm going to do this very quickly so that people can get an understanding of what it is that I'm looking at and how I see it. Everything is a vibration. Everything is vibration. And if you understood the fact that everything is done in waves, these waves each are a point of conditioning for the solidification of what we call divine intent. I'm going to get pretty heavy here, taking you into the first, second, and third levels of what we teach. If I want to give you a better access to it, because you couldn't get any other access to what I'm speaking about from the Kemetic principle, but I would do it so that you could see it through what would probably be the Kabbalistic principle, because the Kabbalistic was actually stolen directly from the Kemetic principle. There are three principles in God: the Father, Son, and the Mother. Father, Mother, Son, and Father, Son, Holy Ghost, or whatever they want to speak about it today. But it was also known as the Ain, okay, or what they call Amen, but it's Ain. Then there was the Ain Sof, and then there was something called the Ain Sof Earth, which is essentially the three stages of the expression of the mind of God. Okay. Now, in the expression, when there is to be, the realm of Malkuth is the realm of what we see as the consolidated earth plane. And if you were to look back from the realm of Malkuth and count 8 spaces back from Malkuth upward, you would see it would come to Bina. Okay. Now, Bina is the feminine principle.
So you count 8 spaces back and you get to the feminine principle, according to Dr. Phil Valentine. That's very symbolic when we deal with 8 for infinity, and we know when we deal with flat earth cosmology that it's centered around the divine feminine. And if you look at my channel, this is exactly what I've been teaching for like the past 2 years about the mother goddess and flat earth cosmology. Is not something that I'm calling a theory, and it's not something that I'm throwing into some mystified realm of pseudoscience. When we talk about the divine feminine or the mother goddess principle, we're simply deifying mother nature. Okay, no deity can exist above mother nature. Everything is at the mercy of mother nature. When you talk flat earth cosmology, you see the great mother at the center of the cosmos. You see Nut making a firmament above. Now he's going to talk about this feminine energy that's dealing with this flat earth cosmology that I go into a lot on this channel. But the questions you need to ask is, why now, Brother Phil? Why flat earth? Why now? How long have you known about it? This is what we gotta ask people. How long have he known? Okay? These are things that raises speculation. And we got to question these things. Why pop up now talking about it, trying to mystify it and monetize it? There are real flat earthers out there that's doing research and observations on the ground. They're spending buku money on equipment and cameras and balloons and all type of stuff, and they're serious about this stuff. It's not no theory to us. If it's such a theory, why are everyone trying to sell you theories? A theory isn't worth a penny. A theory isn't nothing. It's a belief. It's something you can make on your own. The root word of it is theo, which is God. So these men are ruling you like gods with their own theories. You guys need to wake up, okay? You need to wake up. When I walk outside, it's like Night of the Living Dead, all the zombies I see. Everyone's following someone. No one's doing their personal research. Everyone has agreed to accept initiation into some cult and accept the ideas and ideologies of someone else, and you're gonna die with the thoughts of another man. Do your own research. Nature talks to everyone in their personal way. The stars communicate with each and every last one of us in its own language that's unique to you. It don't need to be interpreted by nobody else. The only thing that need to be taught to you is how to do critical thinking and use logic. That's the only thing that's been hidden from us. Is that simple. Use your senses. No one used their senses and go outside and observe nature. We look into books and we go into universities that's online, but we don't look up at the stars, at the very things that taught the people who we talking about. The ancestors didn't go into all of these universities and crazy mystified books and pseudoscience. There's too much technology out here for you to still be following somebody paying hundreds of dollars to get a bunch of pseudoscience when you can spend that money to buy you a telescope and prove reality for yourself, and then go and tell others about your research instead of some mumbo jumbo and mystification of the truth. Now, don't get me wrong. Brother Phil Valentine has a lot to teach. He's a great teacher. He was teaching before I was even born. But that don't mean I can't use my freedom of speech and speak what's in my heart. That's what set me apart from everybody else. I say the things that's truly in my heart, and I'll die with them and the consequences with them. But you can't say I held back, man, if I really felt a certain way. So that's what set me apart, and you won't rule me because I was born to be a leader. And I don't care who you are. I can have mad great respect for you or lay my life down on the line for you. But that don't mean I won't tell you when I see something that I don't agree with, or that I think, is kind of raising a red flag or something I want to question you about. You can be my brother. You can be my elder, my teacher. We've seen plenty elders lead the masses astray. So This is why we can't fall into the same traps over and over again. Question all things. Don't stop at your so-called elders. Don't fall into the same traps that religious folk fall in. Don't want to question their so-called pastors and crap. This reality you live in is a free world where every human is supposed to be their own scientist, having their own relationship with nature and their own leader. It's too many reverends and too many doctors and metaphysicians and doctorates and men with degrees and all of these scholastics and all of this stuff. It's not enough simple human beings using common sense and logic and just personal observations. That's what made the ancestors so great, and that's what make us so foolish today. The simple things, common sense, logic, research, instead of following somebody else. That's the only thing that made the ancestors great. They weren't aliens. They weren't some guys who was teleporting and doing all of this crazy stuff. Maybe they was. Now, I'm just saying, though, the ancestors was great because they did something simple. Used their senses, questioned their reality with unbiased observations. They didn't have ego. They sincerely wanted to know the truth. And they set out on a quest. And when you do that, you will seek and you shall find. So you don't have to go to no metaphysics university, because the only thing you're going to find is the thoughts and conclusions of another man. And he's going to monetize the whole thing. This is a personal awakening, people. But nevertheless, we're going to get back with this.
And you go back to Bina. And who's Bina? Bina is the feminine principle. In Kemetic, she is Mut or Nu. She is the mother, the great sea. That's where they talk about the ocean in the Bible, that being the ocean above. The primal essence filling the entire omniverse. And it's the fundamental essence of the universe before it becomes solidified.
Everything he just told you, I teach on this channel. He's telling you about the concept of zero, that darkness, the concept of the universe before it's come solidified. What are we talking about? What you got to understand is one of the snares we find in a Western thinking is the separation of physicality and spirituality. What do you mean, Brother Sanchez? They're one and the same. We have this crazy mindset where we separate our reality in a duat type mindset, and we can't see the Trinitarian reality that connects all things. So just to lay this on a video for my teacher, Phil Valentine, and I'm humbling myself because I learned from Phil Valentine coming up. But why can't the teachers learn from the students? Because what I'm about to do is going to take his concept to another level. Phil Valentine, I want you to know that physicality and spirituality is the same thing. There is no realm that's separate from what we call matter or mother. Everything is composed of matter, even spirit. For example, whenever you leave the flesh and you enter this so-called spirit realm, it's going to be composed of something. A lighter form of flesh and bone. Even light is composed of material. It's just at a scale that we can't observe, but it can be detected. So it's still in a realm of physicality. There is no such thing as a spiritual realm that's separate from physicality. In the spirit realm, if spirits are interacting and making contact with one another, these are the same attributes as material matter. We make contact with each other in life, and I can feel people when they touch me. If you enter a spirit realm and these spirits are able to touch each other and feel each other, it's another form of material. It's just a lighter form of materialism. Nothing can escape mother or matter. Matter composes all things. You got to keep in mind everything they desecrate and want to turn into some evil is what you want to research, because that is the great mother. So this whole curse on matter and you being born into sin, you're not born into sin, you're born into Zen. Zen is center. It's meditation when you center and ground yourself. When you say center, you're really saying zenter. Center is zenter. Sin is Zen. Not S-I-N, but C-E-N, like cent, like a penny. Okay? So sin is not S-I-N. You wasn't born into sin, S-I-N. You was born into center. You're in an infinite center. What do you mean, Brother Sanchez? There is no end to the earth. It's an infinite plane. The same concept they're trying to create with space. What I mean is, when you deal with infinity, there is nothing but center. The only thing that exists is infinite center. It's hard to explain, but you can't escape the center no matter where you go. In infinity, you're going to be in the center of it because it's infinity. It's like splitting a cell and you create more. It can't escape itself. It's a fractalized continuum and it's hard to explain. Okay, so I'll get into that deeper in future videos, but you're not born into sin, you're born into center, okay? And you're dealing with the divine feminine, all right? X marks the spot, the X chromosome, the bullseye. We're talking about Hathor. When he talk about Nu, remember when you look at this picture here, in the bottom right, you see Nu bent over, the mother who he's telling you about, and you got to keep in mind that she represents the foundations. And when we talk foundations, we're talking those 4 points, those 4 corners, those 2 foot and the 2 hands. You see, it's just like the football player when they get down in the stance. And it's very symbolic because you got 10 hands and 10 toes. And remember, 10 is Zen. 10 represents tent. When we say 10, that can be represented in geometry or sacred geometry as the triangle. So when you look at the A.G. Gaston Boys and Girls Club hands, or when we do handshakes to make agreements, we put 5 and 5 together to make an ark or a covenant for 10. So it's as above, so below. So when you look at the sky goddess bent over with 10 hands touching the ground, 10 toes touching the ground, that can be represented, like I said, 10 is the triangle. You know, it take 2 triangles to form the yoni. 1 triangle equals Ma'at, or 1 Trinity angel. This is where it all starts right here from the first one, this first tent or this first TP. Remember the root T or TE dealing with terror, tent, TP, temple, 10, terrace, terrain. The duality gives birth to the Trinity. So when you look at numbers, let's think sacred geometry and let's build by units. And we'll use the triangle for sort of like our building block in a numerical scale. For example, 1 would be 1 triangle, and that's representative Ma'at, or the balance scale, or the letter T, the very first one, the primordial source. 2 triangles would give you the yoni. You see how we building our way up, because you start with 1 triangle, which is Ma'at. Then you build your way up. 2 triangles equals the X, or the hourglass, or the yoni, aka the diamond. Now the root word of diamond is di, D-I, dealing with 2 again, dealing with division, divine, divide. Why are we dealing with that? Because when you started off with that 1 triangle, it's just like splitting a cell. What happens when you split a cell? It divides itself, or it doubles itself. Division is increase, expansion. So 2 triangles equals diamond, die. When we talk about DI, we're talking about divide. When that original triangle divided itself, you ended up with 2, which is the next building block. And again, diamond is mound. It's a mound formed out of a division or a split. And if you look at the yoni, that's what it is. It's a mound or a diamond. Two triangles would be like the spark when consciousness become conscious of itself and marries itself. That's the duat. That's when the light came on in Genesis. So one triangle would be the darkness or the primordial source, Ma'at. And two triangles would be the diamond, the light coming on, blinding you just like the diamond, just like the eclipse, reminding you of all of this. That's the duat. The next step would be the cube or the cosmos, the box that they talking about you need to escape and all of that crap that they worshiping in the Middle East. But these three gives you the cube or our cosmos. That's the beauty of the Trinity and the triangle or the Trinity angel. It's a unit of measurement. It's a building block all of it in itself. When you look at the yoni or the diamond, it's two triangle bases stacked together. So again, two triangles would give you the yoni and three yonis will give you the hex cube or the X cube, sex cube, X box or drop box. One of the basic building blocks, hex cube, which is really the six cube because six represents the Trinity. Those first two give you your first structure to the very building block of everything. That's the duat, that's the ma'at. And you can look at it in another way when you go back to Nut and Geb. When I say those first two is the duat that even allowed the Trinity to be created. In other words, Mother Nature is constantly sacrificing herself for your very existence. So when you look at Nut and Geb, when I talk about those first two, you can look at it like the foundation of everything. The arch above you and the underworld, what even supports the infinite plane called Earth or Geb. That's why the mother or Nut is arched over the sun. She's arched over Geb. In the Helios cosmos, they teach you that the sun gave birth to everything. In our ancient African cosmos, we know that the great mother gave birth to all there is. So that's why you see the sky goddess, like I said, that deep duality give birth to the Trinity. Those two bowls, the arch above you and the underworld below you, is what supports the earth plane or the heart, the sun, which is Geb. He can't exist without her enclosing him and protecting him. And those two triangles can be represented as, remember, when we talk about an arch, we're talking about two. That's why when you look at the number two, it's an arch. There's two arches, one above, one below. And this is symbolic. Metaphysic is not just physical. When you look at the sky goddess and we talk about those two arches, we're talking about those two tents, because an arch can be a U or it can be a V. So we're talking about two arches, those two tents that encloses us, being the two hands and the 2 feet, both equaling out the 10. Remember those two tents. So that's the duality that even gives birth to the Trinity or the horizon concept, the Geb concept. Just like your foundations, your hands and your feet is connected to your pole or your torso. Without any of that, you could not exist or function fully. You're just a sitting like vegetable. So this is life. This is the wave. All right. The water. And we even Greek this way. We wave. All right. We symbolize, and everything we do is as above, so below. Because we're talking about the waters above, the waters below. And we wave just like those waters when we Greek. And we wave when we see each other, and we wave when we go away, because those waters above and those waters below are like the waves. And when we talk about the cosmic mother and the waters above, she became deified as the mermaid. If you are a Nuwapian, research the goddess Nuwa, and you will see this same mermaid concept. That's that X with those two triangles making the hourglass. And again, when you turn them the other way, you get the yoni. That cube is a building block of existence. And I'll get into that deeper, because what's going on in the Middle East ain't worshiping the cube in the way that y'all thinking, the Saturn hex turning it into spookism, is really worshiping the black yoni, the first building block of it all. Even when we, like I said, shake each other hands, it forms a yoni. And what is the yoni? This another symbol of life or eternity. So when we talk about the foundation, we're talking about the fountain, this FOU root dealing with four. So this picture here give you a little bit more insight on what I'm talking about when you look at the 4 points on the end of the kananga, which forms the yoni in the middle, or in the case of the kananga, it would be the straight line symbolizing linear, parallel, or eternity. The same thing that the yoni symbolize when I say 4 for the fountain, the foundation, the fountain of life, is this code. And also, when we say aqua, we're saying aqua. Qua is 4, and we're dealing with water. The 4 foundations is where the waters above and waters below reside. If you look at the cosmology, and remember that the mother is the founder of it all. And she supports this whole structure. She is the foundation or the founder, all right, with the 4 points stretching her body out, creating the tent that we live in. And this whole concept of the Milky Way is just the fact that when she makes this arch, her breast hangs down and the milk fall to feed the children. And this would be the example of the magnetic energy at the pole. Arches are attractive, like babies are attracted to the arches of a breast, and men are attracted to the curves and arches of a woman. It all keeps this continuum going. So the C, the crest, the arch, the B, the V, the angle is the angel. It's the founder of it all. And I'll get deeper into that in a future video because I didn't want to even get this deep into this video. I wanted to keep it on field. So to continue more on this concept, just stay tuned, subscribe. Let's get back to the video with Phil Valentine. That ark is the covenant. If you go and research a coven, you will see it's a trinity of witches. Now, I'll get into that in a future video, but we got to stay on subject. Anyway, that trinity of witches you can see is represented in the ark here on this picture by these 3 circles right here. Sun and moon, black hole sun. And it can be represented by left scale, right scale, ma'at balance in the scales, or yin, yang, connect to make the serpent in the middle that became Adam and Eve with the serpent on the tree. So I can get real deep into this stuff, but right now I just want Brother Phil to speak because he's trying to mystify this stuff and get you into his little comedic university when the whole thing the ancestors was trying to teach us is simply balance. Balance. Have love for one another, live by the golden rule, protect Mother Nature, she'll protect her children. Balance, y'all. That's the answer. Heaven is not a place you go, it's something we create on this infinite plane. The H is silent. When you say heaven, it just means even. There is no male ma'at. The divine feminine Mother Nature represents balance. That's how nature sustains itself. Everything is balance but humanity. And you can't learn balance at no mystified university. We can't monetize balance. We can't turn it into metaphysics and mystify it into this, type of setting. This is personal awakening that can free the spirit.
She is the sphere, what can I say? She's the sphere of magnetic cohesion. In other words, nothing can take place outside of this sphere unless it goes through the sphere and becomes magnetized, consolidated. In other words, atoms cannot consolidate into bodies unless it is actually filtered through this particular sphere of existence. And this is the Nu. This is Nu. She's the stabilizer, the organizer of all life. So when we speak about the firmament, that's exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about 10 layers, 10 different compression zones of cosmic activity that are pressurizing us into the atmosphere that we see, that we live, move, breathe, and have our being.
Did you hear the number? 10. It goes back to Zen. All right, remember, you're not born into sin, you're born into center. Sin is Zen, it's also 10. That's why when you say dozen, dos is 2 and Zen is 10, which gives you 12. So dozen is 12. So again, Zen represents 10. That's very holy. This is very symbolic. What is 10, Brother Sanchez? It's the binary code. It's the shape of the cosmos. It's all there is. The linear and the curve, the yin and the yang when they come together. Think about it. When you take the 0 and put the 1 inside of it, you get the balance symbol, the Pepsi sign. It's just the line is straight instead of curve, but it still represents half, okay? So I don't want to get into all of that on this video. I just wanted to go into Phil Valentine really and point out to the deception to y'all so y'all don't be deceived into all of these spookified, mystified universities. Every one of y'all, this is common sense, this flat earth science. If you're new to my channel, please explore it and start looking at these videos and freeing your mind. Click on videos on the front page and dive into these flat earth videos that I've been making, all right? Okay, I learn as I go. So when you start from the beginning of the Planisphere series, you may say that some of my knowledge has changed as you move on, but that's fine because that's honest research. You live in a world today where no teacher want to make mistakes. That's not the way research go. And the reason it's like that because these men write all of these books and stuff and nobody want to pull them off the shelf when they making money. But when you find out something you wrote wasn't true, you got to be honest and, rewrite that joint. We don't want to rewrite our science books today. And I'm going to get into the deception of science and how that whole deception go because that's deeper than you think. That's a whole video right there. The book deception. The books bind you to the concepts of another man. And this is the whole thing. The first thing people tell you when you go to talking to them is what books you read, where your sources, but nobody never asked the author of the book where's their sources. Because the author's sources is personal observation, research. You are the book.
Okay, so if you want to deal with that, she now is actually above Shu in the ancient Kemetic. Shu is the air. Shu stands for the vibrational counter pressure to Nu. And so that vibrational counter pressure to Nu gives you the atmosphere in which we breathe. So now we're actually giving you how this so-called dome structure that these people on the internet are speaking about. There's no dome. There are pressure zones of activity where there is a consolidation of intention that we see as magnetism and electricity, and we process them through electricity and magnetism as they manifest as our senses. Okay, so just to pretty much give you an understanding about the next stage up, if you want to deal with the 9th sphere, which is above the 8th sphere, which is above the firmament, the 9th sphere in Kabbalah would be Chokmah. And again, I'm dealing with reverse. This is the secret. You don't just Professor, but you're not operating itself. So they're never going to show you what it is that they cannot show you from above. Now, of course, let me just say this. Now, they've been killing off a lot of astronomers. A lot of astronomers have been dying. A lot of people dealing from astrophysics have been just suddenly dying. Crashing, somebody killed, stabbed some dude, I think he was an Australian guy, stabbed him 147 times. That was definitely risky. So what I'm looking at now is that whoever's looking up at the sky, based on the fact that these periscopes and telescopes are getting 10 times more powerful each time, they're seeing something that they're not supposed to report back on. Now, the trick is to get you to believe that they're looking at Nibiru. So if they're looking at Nibiru, are they actually looking at Nibiru, or are they looking at this compression zone?
Beware of anybody talking about they for flat earth or that they see, here's the thing you gotta realize. I'm not attacking this great teacher. I'm telling you that I can't lie that he's a great teacher. He is. He very eloquent with the language and very knowledgeable. But a great teacher don't mean that you don't have an evil agenda. There are plenty great teachers with evil agendas. Okay? So they'll give you truth and they'll teach you some good stuff, but they'll lead you back to their mystified schools to trap your minds in their box. And it turns into a cult and another belief system. For example, anybody that's truly investigated and done research on flat earth know that Nibiru is not real. Nibiru is not real, people. So if Phil Valentine's still pushing Nibiru down your throat, what you got here is just like I'm telling you. You see, Phil been around for a long time. And I don't know how long he been aware of flat earth, but if he was honest, he can't say he knew about flat earth from the time he was born, because all of us was brainwashed. So what I'm saying is somehow he learned about flat earth, but here's the thing. Before he learned about flat earth, he had already been teaching a bunch of globe rhetoric and planet rhetoric. Go back and do your research. I've been following Phil a while. He hadn't always been a flat earther. What I'm telling you is that's why he's dancing. He can't come out now and just say, I'm a flat earther, y'all. It's flat, and show you all of this research, what I'm showing you on this channel. He mystifying in this video. He turned it into spookism and put it into a theoretical realm. So I can break it down in a metaphysical type format. It is not that deep, y'all. You see the sun and the moon directly across from each other in the daytime. That can only be possible on a flat plane. Plain and simple. Okay? So listen to what I'm telling y'all. I'm trying to free your mind. He's still pushing globe earth concepts with this flat earth thing. A lot of these people know flat earthers got the truth. But a lot of people can't really accept the truth because they dug themselves so far deep into a lot of globe earth concepts, and they got a lot of rhetoric, a lot of books, a lot of, stuff out there that's surrounded with globe earth, like planets and alien talk, Nibiru talk. And if they come out and debunk themselves, now how they gonna eat? How they gonna feed their family? See, this rabbit hole go deep, y'all. There's only a few more truthers left. This flat earth thing ain't a psyop. They had to call it a psyop because what the flat earth truth does is it separates the boys from the men. It separates the righteous from the non-righteous. Once you come in the realization of flat earth truth and go down that rabbit hole and do the research, you can't lie to yourself, and you got a choice to make. See, that's what happened to me. I had to go back and tell all my followers, look, y'all, I changed my mind and I lost a lot of subscribers. But I had to be honest when I found out the truth. When you know 2 + 2 is 4, you can't go to teaching it's 5 again. Same thing with some of these pastors. They learn the truth about these religions, but they still keep teaching in these religions because they got to feed their family. So nobody want to debunk themselves. Nobody want to be wrong. So the world just can't get right today. It's a lot of misinformation and muddy waters around the truth, and the government very smart. They know when the truth want to resurface, they got to control the opposition. They got agents in place. They got misinformation out there, and it's just a lot of deception going on. So I'm just trying to free y'all mind. Use critical thinking.
All around the earth as we see it today, there are stories in the ancient text about floods. Now, above that pressure zone that we spoke about, that pressure zone of the 9th sphere that we spoke about, going into the 8th, that pressure zone of the 9th sphere is compressed hydrogen. This is my theory. It's compressed hydrogen. Now, with the movement of space-time, the reason why we're trapped here and kept in ignorance, did we somehow breach and found a way back to the gods and did something to pollute that area so that what happened was God wound up and pitched a stone and cracked that sphere, the hydrogen, the compressed hydrogen, and it fell to earth?
Spookism, pseudoscience. Did you hear all of that? This is the nonsense we gotta get out of. Speculation. Stick with the facts if it's flat. This is not science, y'all. This is the same thing Neil deGrasse Tyson doing. It's a religion. It's a cult of theory where these men are just coming up with all of these irrational ideas based on the truth. So the conclusion that you get based on the truth is a man's theory. Listen what I'm telling you so you understand what I'm saying. When you get the truth, it's a revelation. It leads to personal observations and more personal revelations, not to a cult of mystification. Let me expound more deeper. What magicians do, like Phil Valentine, they give you the truth, but they lead you into a mystified realm of their own speculation, and they conclude on a theory that's based on the truth. So what you end up with is a mind fuck. And what happens is the truth is resonating with you, but the conclusion you left with is non-beneficial, and it's just another alien story. So what am I saying based on the truth? Once I found out the earth is flat and not a globe, I found out that all the problems we facing on the earth is because we don't realize that simple fact. If we have a cosmology that teaches us the creator is chaotic, for example, like the universe that they gave us with stuff floating around and clashing at any given moment, we have a YOLO mentality. Think about it. It's the same thing they do to the Christians. They tell them at any given moment, Jesus can come back. They tell the Kemetic folks at any given moment, Nibiru can crash, or a comet can crash, or the Anunnaki can come. They got to keep this at any given moment mindset. All right. Once you realize your feet on a solid flat ground that's infinite, and that the creator put an arch above you to protect you and enclose you, and that the earth is an infinite plane you can travel to and fro among her, and that there is no death, there is no end to you, only endless beginnings. The cycles of life and death is nothing but eternity. When you die and become reborn, it's the same way of going to sleep and waking up, inhaling and exhaling. There's a microcosm, macrocosm of this duat that creates the now, that creates this very moment. And you can't escape the now, because even when you die, you're going to open up conscious eyes. You're going to be in another realm observing something. You can never escape the now, because wherever you are, you're going to be in the now. And the now is represented by that serpent that's in the middle of the yin and yang, because the present is in the middle of the past and future. So that's why the serpent, when you rearrange the letters, you get present. So explore videos on my channel so I can go deep into that for you. You're an infinite being that can't cease to exist, and you exist on an infinite plane. There are so many different worlds and areas of this infinite plane and different landscapes that we are yet to see. But it's all being hidden behind spookism, and you can die at any moment and something can crash in the earth, and just speculation. Understand when the teacher is leading you into his own realm of speculation and straying you away from the truth. That's a sleight of hand trick.
40 days and 40 nights? I really to think about that, because they gave you clues, of course. I don't know. Did you ever see that movie, Avengers: Age of Ultron?
Right.
Remember when Ultron said something? Well, supposedly Nibiru or Planet X or down a stone, and just wipes everything out, and he says he's about to wind up again. Well, supposedly Nibiru or Planet X, or the original Nibiru was actually called homunculus, I believe, and it was found by a Chilean scientist. And it was this Chilean scientist, I forgot his name, it'll probably come back to me, but this Chilean scientist came up with this, he saw this thing, homunculus, herliculus or herbiculus or whatever his name is, but it was Planet X. And he said it's coming in. And that might be the stone that was thrown to end whatever's going on here, because man.
Here again, he's leading you back into the same Nancy leader trap. I got a video on Planet X Nibiru. Please watch it, y'all. I put a lot of work into that video, and it's very important. There is no Nibiru. Our atmosphere has reflective properties. These teachers are so smart. Phil Valentine is so smart, but yet he's not teaching you about simple reflection and refraction. There is no Nibiru. There are X moons that I went over in my Vedic eclipse videos. Check that out. And there's refraction and reflection. There is no Nibiru, guys. And there's no mothership or nothing that can crash into the earth that's solid. This is what I'm talking about. There is no way Phil Valentine fully understands flat earth cosmology. Otherwise, he would know that none of those light fixtures in the sky are solid. They are all luminaries. So here again is a situation where we have a very respected man, and don't get me wrong, I have very much respect for him, but he's not well researched in the flat earth area, and he didn't do the research from an observative standpoint like many thorough flat earthers. He did it from a metaphysical type standpoint, and that's a realm of research we got to learn to get out of and get into real research where we put our feet on the ground, proving things with the telescope. He's telling you about somebody with the telescope. I actually own a telescope. So this is personal observations. How much do you want to know for yourself? Now, you spend the money to go to his school, but he won't spend the money on a telescope for himself, or you won't spend that money on a telescope for yourself. It baffles me. You know, it's like we love pseudoscience. There is no Nibiru, okay? Now, to understand why I say that, go and check out my Nibiru video.
Has become so sophisticated that he's trying to break through that ceiling again. And the prisoners, you know, when they show you, there's another one called Escape Plan, that movie with Sylvester Stallone. If you look at the metaphysics of Sylvester Stallone's movie, Escape Plan, you see that he was in an inescapable prison, and where was he? He was in the sea. And he didn't know he was in the waters.
Right.
He broke through and to mess with that space and to mess with the continuum that was created here as an Eden for these souls to come in and enjoy life and to process God's own reality back to himself, herself, so that she can actually participate in his and herself through us.
This is exactly what I teach. Am I saying that Phil Valentine stole it from me? No. What I'm saying is you come to this realization when you do thorough research. What I don't understand is how people come to so much profound realizations, but they don't do the basic observations. Like, how can you still call flat earth a theory if you know so much about it? Anybody that know what our ancestors know that our ancestors wouldn't call it a theory. If our ancestors was here right now, they wouldn't say it's a theory. They'll say this is real. So, but like he said, like I've been teaching you video after video, all of us are expressions of the source. Each and last human being is like a driplet from the ocean. The creator represents that primordial ocean. No matter where water go, it will always be water. Even if you put it in the desert, it'll find its way back to the ocean. How will it do that? Transitioning through forms. Water will evaporate and turn into gas into the atmosphere and rain back as a driplet into the ocean. And no matter where you take it, it'll find itself to be You could take water to the desert, put it in the sand, but that water you put in the sand will find its way back to the ocean. It'll find its way. It'll never stop being water no matter what you do to it, because it's water is a formula. It's a code. Everything is a code. Like anyone who programmed computers understand that each icon that you're looking at on a page is a different set of numbers that's creating the color, the dimensions, and all of that. So everything is a code. You're a code. You're a fingerprint. So everything it can't cease to exist, because that code is a code that once that code is created, it's a reference point in consciousness. Like he said, all of us is an expression of the Creator, here to experience its own creation. So how did the Creator experience its creation? Through each and every last one of you. In other words, what kind of experience are you creating for the Creator? Because when you experience sadness, the Creator experienced sadness. So all of us are the hands and eyes of the Creator. We're having an experience, and the Creator is experiencing its creation through us at this very moment. You're not experiencing it alone. The Creator is experiencing its creation through you, through me, through the trees, through each and every last animal, through the worm, through the air, through the wind, and it can experience its creation in every aspect of its creation, from the many viewpoints and levels of consciousness in the creation, to examine all of the dimensions of the creation to perfect the creation. So somewhere along the way, we got set back, and we got to get back on track. And that's all need to be said. It's simple. You don't have to go to these deep metaphysics schools and get into all of this pseudoscience that muddy the truth and turn it into something that's so deep. Listen, the earth is flat. You can prove it for yourself. The horizon rises with you. When you go up, it rises to eye level. That proves it alone. I mean, I can keep going in. I got so many videos debunking the globe. You don't have to go to no metaphysical university and spend no big money to prove something that every ancient knew. Even the children knew it. Okay? So, there is no Nibiru. There's a lot of teachers that give you half truth and muddy the waters. So to understand more about flat earth and how the deception is hid in the Black conscious community and how important it is, join me in part 2 of this video. But just remember what I said. It's okay for us to respect our great teachers, but still have our freedom of speech and be men and question them. Okay, let no man tell you can't question him, man. And listen, anybody that threats your life for questioning them, that's what I'm saying. That's a cult. That's somebody enforcing their ideology on you, just like the Vatican did. See, when they corrupted the world, we learned how to act by watching them. We got this mentality where we want to own people, and have these following type settings. But what we need to be creating is other leaders, not followers. So a lot of these teachers are muddying the waters, and a lot of them are suspect. And don't crucify me for speaking my mind, saying something that many of you already been thinking anyway. So truth must be said, and for what it's worth, I do this because I see the deception and it just keeps me up at night. So remember everything I said in this video, and join me for part 2 where I'm gonna go in deeper. Peace and much love.